Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I'm at your host. The viewer on the right requested this reading. We're gonna kind of go right in. I might give a couple of updates. This is really this will be like a part 3, but on this video we're gonna stay right with the charts. Just a few things happen. This is actually like a retake, but that's why I'm just gonna go right in. First house, your ACEP. One thing we've learned is when you see your moon and you see that number 18, okay, now the moon tarot card, 18 or 18 degrees for your numerology on your natal chart, that can be deception, fear, intuition, illusion, like a person will see life a certain way, but it's not that way. And the number 12 degrees, that's your hangman card. And the hangman is like the same way. The hangman tries to hang out in his little by himself but he doesn't want to accept reality. Hangman can also mean something about a suspension or a separation. That's where your Juno is. So essentially they're saying it's your inner thinking, that moon energy, that is causing you to have ideas that are just not realistically sound, which also leads you to separation. Now in part 1 and 2, I kind of already went in with part 1 and said that part 2 was like a follow-up of part 1, and I would look at the chart a little bit, but I was just trying to bring that point home just by spirit. Like I said, spirit knows what to say. Like this is no different than church or Christianity. Like either you want it or you don't. And a lot of people just like to say the right thing, then do what they want. And a lot of people have no fear of judgment or no fear. Like you see that number 12 right by your Juno. That's like the 12th house of the final house of astrology. Our particular astrological system has 12 houses right now. But the 12th house is like the final house. That's like, and that's why you got the fish. That fish represents the judge or Jesus. So people just, and most people, if they just feel good right now, they're not worrying about all that. But they will worry about it when that time comes. So now when you go to your EP, which is the east point where the sun went over the ecliptic when you were born, but that's like your ego. And that's 18 degrees, once again, that moon energy of illusion, doubt, fear. Possibly intuition. But then it has a number 16, which is the tower card or the breakdown. So this is the part, and that's why you got to be very careful too, because Virgo is your health, and that's also your mental health. And remember, Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini, so that could very easily be your mental health and stuff like that. So you have to be very careful. 20 degrees is the judgment card, and that's a lot of Pluto energy, and we're getting ready to do Pluto now. Now, this time I was going straight off the chart. Like the other 2 videos, I was doing a lot of talking and referring to the charts. When I did this video, I said, let me do a straight video, straight off the charts with the experts. Now, that information I just gave you came like from a Biddy Tarot for your first house. Your second house, I went to Astrology, King.com, Pluto conjunct Venus. Now, this is where it can get ugly, because it can be very, remember, Pluto is all about extremities, because Pluto rules Scorpio. Your second house is the 8th house, but this is where it kind of gets a little ugly, because whenever you have the 8th house and the second house, that's not good, because this is somebody that's doing something with somebody else's money. And that's where, and then when you see that number 11 with Libra, that's the justice card. So this could be the justice system, and Libra can also be the justice system. But this can also be this your second house is kind of like a relationship based off of what we're talking about: power, greed, sex, whatever. But it can become a legal matter. Now, whether that happens or not, like at the end of the day, to be totally honest, only you would know that. And then you got that 18 again, because that's why I said Now, me, I'm not here to judge, put nobody down. But again, the moon, the moon has always had a sensual. And see, when I read this, because all you gotta do is go to astrologyking.com and read Venus conjunct Pluto, and they said this will be a highly sexual person, and they sexually magnetic. It'll attract sexual situations to him and stuff like that. But he didn't know that you got 18 degrees Venus, because that's the moon energy. Because the moon can be very sexual. People making love under the full moon and all kind of stuff like that. And even when you wrote me, you said that about not making love under the moon, but you said it about the moon. So it's all here. It's all here. But he said it's going to be dangerous. This could be victimization. Like ideally, he said if they were getting along. Either way, it's going to be obsessive. Could be stalking. But for whatever reason, you got the law there as well. And Libra is partnerships. But it doesn't have to be a love partnership. It could be sexual partnership. It could be a money partnership. It might be a female that just has a man come over and just do her just to get some money off of them. Or vice versa. It could be the sugar daddy moment. Sugar mama moment. But either way, it's not romantically healthy. And when you're dealing with Scorpio, because I see this a lot throughout your chart, when you're dealing with Scorpio and Pluto, because Pluto rules Scorpio, you're dealing with a lot of times a lot of immaturity. If the vibrations ain't high enough, this is like the lowest vibration. And like I said, anything can really happen off of that. That's like if you lived in a hood, you see some crazy stuff. You know, somebody sick of somebody messing around, all of a sudden somebody pull a gun out. So now, since your Libra's in your second house, let's find out who's in your seventh house, because Libra rules your seventh house. So then goes Pisces. So again, this is inspirational and karmic. Now, number 17 is a number for karma, and number 20 is a number for judgment. And see, yours is 20 degrees and 2 minutes. But that's called, what I call that a switch. And I'm even probably going to look that number up. But that's like a turn on, turn off. Whenever you see like a 20 and 02, or a 70, 17 and a 71, that's a turn on, turn off. It's the same number, but backwards. And we'll get back to that. But your 17 is the same as the moon. And we found out that that is a star card of Aquarius. So you have a situation with a sign of Aquarius. But Aquarius represents people, places, friends, technology, associations. So that your Aquarius is in your sixth house, which is Virgo. That's your moon sign, and it takes you back to your first house, Virgo. Virgo is the home, family, health, healing, daily activities, even your job, small children, small animals, subordinates, and co-workers. So all that's going on, but in your sixth house it goes with Aquarius energy, which is the 11th house, but that's also the vertex cross. Vertex cross, again, twin flame, twin soul, same thing. Same soul, different body. Soulmate is anybody you know who's in your soul tribe that you may have a really closer relationship with, something about something closer to them than other people. But it just is not the same soul. It's just somebody in your soul tribe. Your twin flame and twin soul is the same soul, different body. But you still got that number 25 there, which means the law. And you got the number 26 there, which means God. And that's all connected to your Virgo in the sixth house. Now going back to your second house, that's ruled by Taurus. So we said, where's your Taurus at? And your ninth house. So your ninth house is Sagittarius, and Lilith is there as well. And Sagittarius is all about foreign travel and laws, international law or higher courts, religion, philosophy, your belief system. And with Taurus there, if Taurus doesn't have a high vibration, it'll bring it down to the five senses. So Taurus in the ninth house is like, what are you going to do for me? And how am I going to benefit from the situation? See, the whole underlying thing is like prostitution. Now, Lilith is also in Taurus at 0 degrees, which is Uranus energy. And see, your Uranus is right there in Scorpio. So once again, Lilith can also be that way. Because Lilith is always going to be about what is she getting out of it. Especially Lilith retrograde. And she's like on the down low. Lilith retrograde is on the down low. Like if you see Lilith retrograde in the 10th house, it's definitely scandal. So that's the type of person, I'm just going to use a female, but that's the type of female that's working on a job. But she's also, if she can get you to whatever, we can go in the back room, but you're going to hit me off with something. So she's on the clock making money, and she's in that back room in that little closet blowing somebody off and stuff, making some money too. Because whenever you see Lilith retrograde in the 10th house, it's scandal. Yours is in the 9th. But you got Taurus there. So Taurus can be real sensual too. And the 9th house. It just depends on what the vibration is. So and then like I said, so we go to your 4th house. Sagittarius is there. We're not going to do the 4th house here because it has other planets there that we're going to do that by itself. So your 4th house is ruled by Cancer. When we go to your Cancer, it's in your 11th house ruled by Aquarius. So there goes Aquarius again. But then you got that anaretic degree. That 29 degrees is anaretic. Now, when it's in the front and it's a degree, it's an anaretic degree. Now, if it was 29 in the back, it would be a minute. So it's not as impactful. But wherever you see, you got that 12 degree moon, you got that 12 degree Juno, 29. So it's like a smaller anaretic degree. But it's not considered an anaretic degree because it's not a degree. But it has the same connotation. Like if you had a man that was known for drama, and his little son walked in. Now, even if it's his little son, it has the same connotation. Because if anybody say something to that little boy, the boy gonna go get daddy. So everybody knows that that little boy might be little right now, but don't push him off because he's gonna go get his father, or he might grow up and be just like his daddy. So it has that same connotation. So whether it's 29 degrees or just 29 minutes, it's still 29. It's not to be. You better respect it. So you see a lot of stuff shaking, but the main thing is so far is that you can't base your judgments on these things we just said. Because you can't be in a world of illusion saying, well, I feel it. Yeah, well, you're going to feel a certain way because what you have to learn how to do is deal with reality. And that's the only way I can say it. So on part 1 and part 2, I kind of gave you more advice and stuff like that. Like I said, I was on part 3 and then, just got deleted. So I had to do it over. So that's what I'm doing now. And I'm giving you the references of where I was at. But part 1 and part 2, I really went over all that. So for more information, you can refer to that. But mainly, you have to, I can't say, I'm looking for a woman, she got to be stress-free, drug-free, have a job, boom, boom, boom. Because that may come and it may not come. And that's why I was talking so much about the female at my job, because she understood what it was. You got to get to know people. Like back in the day, that's what you did. You met somebody, you went on a date, you relaxed a little bit, learned how to talk instead of expect. Because nowadays you got people that are trying to expect. So they're going to shoot you down right away. Because that's why I said I seen females like immediately. Just to give one example, but I seen tons of examples I can give you. Because like somebody told me, females see with their eyes, but you gotta get to know somebody. Because somebody might look a certain way to your eyes, but they may be totally different. And see, women have intuition, but your intuition is strange because you don't always use it. And I don't know if I said it in this video or not, because I said one video got messed up. But I said, think of the dude, Ted Bundy. Now, here was a dude that somehow was able to connect with a large amount of women and kill all of them. But it might be a guy out there that ain't even had one girlfriend. So how come a guy can't get one girlfriend, but Ted Bundy got all these women and killed all of them? So you have to wake up a little bit, understanding something with this planet. And on these videos, I gave you perfect examples why. So the video to the transit chart to the left is about Moon and Pisces, but opposite the Moon and Pisces is the Sun in Virgo. Now, if you notice, your Moon is in Pisces, but you got 18 degrees, so we'll leave that alone because it's not really 19 degrees. If it was 19 degrees, it'd be the Sun, but it's not. It'd be the Sun card. But it's still similar. So right now, this is all about service and karma. But you got to remember how the universe works. Because like I said, if you are, the implication is sexual service for finance. So that's still a service. And all that is looked at with karma. But if you feel like, man, sometimes I just feel like God, boom, boom, boom. But you got to bring yourself in harmony with God. See, the way things work is this. There's a lot of people say, I'm just using, let's just say somebody's a crook. Look, I don't like stealing. I can't get a job. If the Lord would just provide for me, I wouldn't have to steal. I don't know why the Lord never provided for me. That's the only reason why I stole, because the Lord didn't provide for me. So the ideal way is to put faith, to stand on a rock. Which means you got to get to a point where you're not going to steal regardless. I mean, because some people don't want to go low, but sometimes you have to. And that's why on one of these videos, I did, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Because I showed you that God broke Jesus all the way down. And he'll do that to you. He'll do that to anybody. If God really got plans for you, he's going to break you all the way down. And sometimes you're going to have to take handouts, whether you want to or not. And if you say, man, I'm never going to take no handout. Now you sound like Peter. Peter told Jesus, you'll never wash my feet. See, that's arrogance. That's ego. So if God is trying to break you down and you won't be broke down, how do you think he's going to use you? Say, well, why would God want to break you down? Because the whole essence is God is on top. We on the bottom. And he got plans. For anybody he's calling, he got plans for them. And sometimes when God calls you, you're not going to understand why. And that's Pluto right there. They say that's what planet Pluto do. Because Pluto teaches you lessons as well, too. And you're not going to understand why these things happen. And if you've been on this planet as long as I have, you already know it's easier to do bad than it is good. It seems like bad show up quick. And it almost seems like when you try to do good things, things happen to make you go, damn, why did I even waste my time? But when it's something bad, it's just easy. It come quick, it come easy. So these are all challenges people have. But when you're dealing with walking with God, you got to go for it anyway. You got to go for the sacrifice. And that's why I say, when you don't understand stuff like that I just said, you got to get with somebody who's really a spiritual person so that they can help you. Because that's why most people fail. They rely on what they think, and you can't do that. You don't have a spiritual mind yet. Your mind is still earthly and fleshly. So you can't go by what you think, because whatever you do is going to be earthly and fleshly. Like I'm not going to say who the pastor was, but I think y'all going to know who I'm talking about. He's a black pastor, big old mega church. And I remember he told the women in that church, he said y'all got to get to the point where y'all let Jesus be your man and get rid of your sugar daddy. And that church was silent then, I think. He said, y'all gonna have to get rid of your sugar daddies and let Jesus be your man. That church was silent. So most of these people are not spiritual. They might be churchgoers, but spiritual, you would. You gonna put faith, you gonna stand on that rock, and you gonna move forward. Because you ain't gonna see nothing that you talk about until you do. Otherwise, you're gonna keep saying, oh, I go here and they don't hire me, or I don't have this and I just don't know what's going on. But you gotta stand on that rock. That's the first step. And it ain't easy. In fact, some people try to stand on the fall, get back up, fall again, try more, fall. But that's a lot better than just, because until you make a move, he's not gonna make a move. That's all I'm trying to tell you. And your move got to be solidified. It got to be, like I said, if you stand on a rock, that's solid. That's why I'm saying this job I got now, when I met with my boss, I specifically said what I was going to do, what I wasn't going to do. I was like out of my freaking mind. The fact that I'm still there, I know that was the power of God. Even the way things went, that's the power of God. But that's because I wasn't afraid to stand on that rock. So so this is what you have to do. First, you got to make sure you stand on the rock. Then you got to make sure it's realistic, because you got a lot of deception on your chart. Anything with a 12 is deception, a deceiver. Neptune's is a deceiver. The moon can be a deceiver. Number 18 could be the deceiver, because that's the moon card number. So, and Virgo for a fact. But like I said, Virgo is able to find things that nobody else can find. Virgo can sometimes be a highly critical, even if they don't mean to be, but they are. And Virgo is all about health. And like we already said, because of these placements, you have to watch your mental health as well as your emotional health as well. But to overcome all that, like I said, you really have to learn how to stand on a rock, display what faith, real faith, and you have to move forward. Trust in what God said, that will never leave you nor forsake you. Because then that's when you're going to break. Because if not, your chart is highly karmic. Like this full moon is highly karmic too, but your chart is highly karmic. Even Astrology King said that about that whole Pluto in conjunct Venus, and he said you got to be very careful because it's very karmic. And remember, your second house is also your eighth house, and you have to be very careful because you got that Libra there, and you got that number 11, so it can be very legal as well, not just karmic but legal. All right, now your third house is Scorpio and Gemini, and that's also your true north node of your life purpose, why you're here. That's 21 degrees as well, so that's also karmic. That's the world card, that's Saturn. So this is very karmic. And your Uranus is the angel number. It's 444. 444 is the Archangel number. And that's also Uranus rules Aquarius. Now, again, so this is your communication. You got to watch what you say, because this is your communication house. You can be slick with the tongue. This is publishing house. Both Uranus and Scorpio use with alternative. They both deal with alternative sciences. Could be alternative medications. But Uranus means it just comes out of nowhere, off the hook. This is definitely technology, might even be advanced technology. It's also creativity. But it's also a tone of immaturity because of Scorpio, which can be all about power struggle, trying to force your way, manipulation, stalking. Astrology King said guilt tripping. Guilt tripping. Outbursts, power struggles. Like I said, what about me? Because that's how I started off this video in part one. What about me? So this house would be the same as what I already said. That person would really have to learn how to slow it down. It would have to become what about God instead of what about me. And it would have to be a realistic approach to couldn't be taking shortcuts. A person's conduct is very important to God, so I can't be saying, hey, listen to me, I'm a pastor and all that, and then laying up in bed fornicating and stuff like can't do that. And then get mad at God. Like to be in disobedience and then get mad at God is just silly. You can't disobey and then say, oh well, I just feel like God's not really here for me. But you got to make sure you ain't in disobedience. Because see, like I said, I make sure I obey. I learned some of the stuff I learned a long time ago. Like if I work for somebody, I always try to make sure my work is done. So when they come and try to bully me, then I defend myself. Because they ain't got nothing on me. Like it's done and it was done correctly. So why are you still harassing me? Because I hate to be harassed. And like the people I work with, the management, they know that. And just more and more in recent times, I become more submissive. As far as they the boss, I just gotta do what I'm told. But when I first got there, I would really be like, you're not just gonna say whatever you want to me, and you're not gonna talk to me any type of way. And I'm way older than some 20-year-old kid, so you damn sure ain't gonna talk to me like you're talking to a 28-year-old kid, like a 20-year-old kid, because that ain't happening. But like I said, I needed that. Like I said, I need what y'all don't understand has been hell on this planet. And how I am is I had to become just to survive. Because if you are righteous on this planet, they will try to crucify your ass just like they do Jesus Christ. That's just facts. Like I said, anything I say is easily to be checked. But that has to be people to use their brain. A lot of people don't use their brain, they just use their emotions. And then they're never going to agree, they're never going to see it. But those are the type of people that are really in danger of, having to pay for everything at the end, because they really think they're going to just keep on going, doing what they want, and nobody's going to find them guilty. And what I learned, just like the Bible says, if God is not disciplining you, that means you're a bastard child, and that means you have no hope. So at the end, you have no hope, because if God had plans for you, He would be disciplining you and correcting you. All right, so let's look at this. All right, so that's actually 2556. Your Aquarius is 2556. I thought it was 2526, but it's 25. So it's just the law. It's not 26. Okay. Now again, whenever Sagittarius is in the 4th house, that has to do like with long distance. It could be a belief system as well, like whatever belief system you might have been under in that family. It could be in-laws, or like I said, a higher education. And Mercury is there with the implication of communications and thought. And then Neptune's there, which is idealism. Whenever you see Neptune and Sagittarius, that's a person who can tap into other places, other dimensions. But it's kind of viewed as deception. But it's interesting how both your Pluto and Neptune are 11 degrees. And then your Neptune is also bondage. So remember, because your Sagittarius connects to your 9th house. And the 9th house is where I said that's like a Lilith energy that is saying whatever, I'm going to use it to get what I want. And you do see part of fortune in your 4th house, which shows it'll pay off to a certain degree. And then when you see Capricorn in the 5th house, like I said, this is a business of pleasure. Capricorn is job and career and reputation, but it's also karmic. So the 5th house is all about any type of pleasure, any type of fun. So again, it's like a business for pleasure. Okay, so far, because that was a question like about love, so that the one we can ask about love. Well, like I said, um, on the chart, like I'm going by what's on the chart. On a chart like this person will really have to like be some form of repentance that needs to be done. And by repenting, I mean otherwise this is just a loop. This is like a loop of like what you see out here in the world. It's just people having sex. Even when you see people talking about, oh, we in a relationship, but they really not in a relationship. It's a sexual situation, but they not really in a relationship. Even if you see them together, like if y'all know what I'm talking about, y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't know how I can better describe it to you. Like I used to work with a dude, and like all the females loved this dude, but he really didn't cheat. And he really believed he was in a relationship with his girl, but then she took him for granted, and then she cheated. And so because she cheated, then he started cheating. But before that, he never. There was one guy that didn't cheat. Because I was there, like I worked with this guy, I was with him all the time. And he was faithful to that female. But I guess, like I said, they always take a nice guy for granted. So she went out and cheated. And he just found out, and they were still together. They didn't break up, but now they just had a new thing where she's gonna sleep with people and he's gonna sleep with people. But that's not really like a real relationship. You know what I'm saying? You could call it a relationship, but that's not like, it's not an ideal relationship. That's more like they both had like an understanding, whatever. Like an understanding was, well, at some point I'm gonna be with you, but I'm still young and I still want to try other things too. So if you're looking for a real relationship, then that's what I mean by it would have to be, because right now that's what this is. And this is deeper because the implication is it's tied up with money and could even go legal. So that's some type of business in the fifth house, some type of seriousness. Capricorn is definitely karmic. And that's why you gotta remember, like, prostitution or illicit sex, that's big in the eighth house, ruled by Scorpio and Pluto. But it's also part of the 12th house as well. So when you have Aquarius in the sixth house, it's still going to be about service and health and all that stuff. I said service, health, healing, children, small animals, daily activities. Subordinates and co-workers. So with Aquarius there, it's more like friends, association groups, charity. And the vertex is at 25 degrees, so it's some type of law situation there. Could have something to do with the soul. But whatever is connected to fate and destiny. Now in the seventh house, again, you got to be careful of Pisces in the seventh house, because remember, Pisces will give its all blindly, because it's deceived by Neptune, and unconditionally. And if the person you're giving that love to doesn't deserve it, you're gonna get played out. And you see the number 20 there again with Pluto. So it's just like your second house, because Pluto is really 20 degrees. It's the judgment card, and that's with your relationship in the seventh house. So you see it again here. And it's even like a spirituality to you, because wherever you see Vesta at, that's where you give it all. You give it all up with Vesta. Wherever you see Vesta at, that's where you're supposed to take a break, or you can really damage your health or whatever, because you just in. But that's what happens with anytime you see Pisces with any type of relationship or Venus. This person will really give it all for the person they're in a relationship with, even if that person wouldn't do it for them. So you see that whole Pluto obsession again, Scorpio and 20, the Pluto card and all that. You see it again. And now it's next to Vesta, which now it's like a religious devotion. Because see, like I said, this would be the type of person that'll give all that devotion to, say, somebody they love or something like that, but they won't get that devotion to God. And then that's how you have all these problems. And like I said, so you can't, when you're like that, you can't say, why doesn't God? Because I was talking about that. So don't think I'm talking particularly about you. I've been saying it. This whole week I've been saying on both my channels. Because people love to blame God. Like you don't listen to him and then you want to blame him. That's kind of crazy. Like I see if you listen to him and it didn't work out and you blame him. Now I want to say nothing. But when you don't listen to him, then you want to blame. Why are you going to blame? He didn't have nothing to do with it. So that's why I said that part probably got erased. I don't know. Or if it's not, it's on the other channel. I mean on the other. There's 2 other videos before this one. This is like part 3. But I said, like, we're all grown adults. We just need to start acting like it. And that's why I said, if you're really looking for love, then first you got to change within yourself. So I can't say, oh, man, I'm really looking for love. I need a female who, and I start making a list that person's supposed to follow. Because that may not happen. They may not want to follow the list. So, like I learned, you just got to get to know people and whatever. And I learned to look at stuff from a distance and make decisions based on that. Because if not, you get to try to know them, and you start a different way, and then it blows up in your face. So you got to kind of study stuff from a distance and kind of already make up your mind. And even then, you might find some other stuff out that you didn't know once you do go on a date and stuff like that. But like I said, it's got to take it time by time. But it is a way more slower process than what people are currently doing. So now you see your 8th house with the Aries. Remember, Mars used to rule Aries. Now Mars rules Scorpio. But now you got Aries in your 8th house, which is Scorpio. And remember, like I said, you can't really get away. See how your Jupiter retrograde is still in bondage, and then your Chiron is retrograde, and that's in bondage with both 15. And number 24 is the return. Now, the return can mean past life, or it might be a situation you experienced in your life, and now at this point, you're going back to it to see if you overcame anything. Did you learn? But it is money there. And the reason why Jupiter is retrograde, pretty much it's about belief systems. And when Jupiter is retrograde, you tend to start to question things. So, like I said, something in your life might jolt you to question. Because all this is about pleasure at the end. And it's not just pleasure, but it's also extremities. So something in your life might jolt you to question it. Because you see a lot of bondage in your 8th house. But it's almost like doing something and saying, I wish I didn't have to do it. Like I said, going back to that thief. Oh, if the Lord would just make a way. And if you are like I said, if you are in a situation like that, just keep praying. That's all I can tell people. Just to keep praying. But I've been doing this a long time, and I know with God, God would rather see you just stand up and say, I'm gonna stop doing it, and just put trust. You know, whatever you do, pray. I've seen people praying fast. Whatever you feel you need to do, but you got to stand up and say, I'm not gonna do it. You got to put God first, and that's when your life starts changing. Like I'm telling you straight up, for the better. Like I'm not no dummy, and believe me, whatever you see me doing is because I know it's a proven way of doing it. That's why I don't change nothing. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand it. They say, oh look, this guy, his number's so low. What could he possibly know? But they don't know my number used to be real high. And like I said, my money, I'd be paid 4 months. Like all my bills would be paid 4 months in advance. But it was just that I wasn't gonna dumb down. I wasn't dumbing down for nobody, and I wasn't gonna just give people bubble gum. You're gonna know the truth. I could rip you off with bubble gum, and that's what most of these people just want, bubble gum astrology, and they're willing to pay for it. Just tell them anything. Oh yeah, that Venus, yeah, the Venus. Oh, it's coming. Yeah, it's coming. No, keep coming. No, just come on. Just keep getting your readings. It's gonna come, and it's gonna come. And you know what? Sometimes to do, because positive thinking can bring stuff your way, but you still being ripped off because that's not what it says. Like I just told you what it said. This stuff you're looking at so far is all based on a condition, but this is like a lot of immature energy that has to grow up, and you can't blame God, and you can't blame. Don't blame nothing. First, you got to get your shit together. That's facts. And then you'll see. Because like I said, if y'all listening, I keep trying to tell you, this was the first job in a long time that I haven't had to deal with racism and all kind of crazy shit. And I know that's the power of God. Because what I'm seeing is like phenomenal. Even everything that happened yesterday was just phenomenal. Because people could have been assholes, but instead of being assholes, they realized it's a job to get done. And like everybody works. And that's why I said, but I give that to my boss. Even my boss, he tells the other manager, watch what you say. Like he don't let the manager just say anything because he would tell them don't say that. And so it's really like a family environment. And then and it's the same way with the customers and stuff. Like I said, even with me, if it's a customer and they kind of upset, I'll try to find out why they're upset to try to resolve it. You know, like even if one of them other managers is, you know, because anybody can get caught up. So even if one of them other managers is caught up in a situation, I'll come in and try to dissolve it and shit. Because we try to keep it. I know, because I don't like stupid shit. Like I don't like. There's a time and place for everything. But like if you're in a relationship, try to act like it. That's how I feel. Or if you really want to see your life change, and you know, try to put God first, because God can change anything. You know, I'm just not with the silly shit. Cause like I said, I'm gonna say it again. That female I kept talking about with the video. Now, unfortunately, y'all didn't get to hear what I said on part 3 because I said a lot of stuff about that video, but it all got deleted, and it was by mistake. I didn't do it on purpose. But basically, you can't sit there and blame the whole world and all that, and then somebody asks you, well, what are you doing to get a better grip on your life? Oh, well, my family led my no, I didn't ask about your family. Oh, well, the guy, my friend, no, I didn't ask about your family. What are you doing? Because you're the same person that built that brand up by yourself. Nobody helped you build that brand up. You built that brand up by yourself because I watched you do it. But now all of a sudden, now you act like you don't know. Now you act like you're a little kid and you confused. So sometimes we willfully choose certain destinies even though we act like we don't. Because some people, I hate to tell y'all, but some people do like drama, and some people like attention, and some people like to play the victim. And you'll say that doesn't make any sense. But we just proved to y'all a lot of this shit is psychologically. So a lot of this shit is mental or psychologically. So when somebody really wants to see change, you will see that person get up and make change. Just like they got up and built their channel up and became one of the most renowned celebrities out here, and they did all that by themselves, basically. So that same person can do it if they wanted to, but it's got to be something. Because I know for a fact, ain't nobody pulling me nowhere. I'll tell my people I'd rather die on my bed than be pulled somewhere. Because I'm not giving up my freedom to nobody. Because I already know what's going to happen. And then, like I said, in one clip, she says that she was standing there, and they was basically telling her to go back to her room, but she said she decided she wasn't going to, so she just stood there, and they put up with her for a while, and then they finally came to get her, and then that's when they started grabbing on her and put her in the room and took her clothes off. But that wouldn't have happened. Like the part about at that particular moment, nobody would have grabbed on her and forced her in her room and took the clothes off, because that's how you get raped. especially when you're unbelievably attractive. So it's just certain things you don't do. So that's why I say when you start to ask, why did these people, why did she go that, why did she allow it to go that far? Plus, like I said, if I've already been through that before, and you're telling me you're about to pick up that phone or call someone, so I'm gonna be like, nah, I'll do whatever I need to do, but put that phone down. But if you keep going and keep going, you gotta ask yourself why. And what we do, we always try to make excuses, but that's not gonna make that's not gonna help the person get better either. So I deal with, like, if you ever dealt with the elderly, you would learn some stuff, because sometimes they have to be very firm with them old people, because if they don't get very firm with them, they won't do it, and if they don't do it, they'll die. So sometimes you have to say, Mr. So and so, you have to do it now, Mr. So and so. No, 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 Mr. Now you gotta get a little firm, because if he don't eat, he'll die. And I care for an elderly person, and I can tell sometimes they just gonna keep on going in their Looney Tune little world, and you gotta take this. No, you gotta do it now. This is how you do it. No, 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 now. Not gonna wait no more and do it. Gotta get done now. Because if you don't do that, that person be dead. And that's why I try to tell you something. I don't know if y'all heard that part either, but also sometimes when you go to an old folks home and you'll see a person and they just got them in a wheelchair or something, just sitting by the window, not doing nothing, just sitting there looking out the window. Now you might say, "Oh, that person getting old and all that," but there'll be somebody the same age as them or older walking all through the building. So how come this one's walking all through the building talking to people and this one's just sitting there? Because not all of them, but some of them their whole life they let somebody else do it. They let somebody else get it. Let somebody else take care of it. So now that they got older, they waiting for somebody to come do it for them, and the people did. You know what I'm saying? Like, them people is just as old as you are. So now all these people that used to always do everything for you because you was lazy, now them people all dead. So now that person don't know what to do, so they just sit there because they're not used to doing nothing. They always have somebody else pick it up and come get it or go bring it. So that's why I said this. All this stuff is serious for a reason, and God gives you the opportunity to learn. He gives you the holy books. He gives you the locations you can go to. He gives you the videos on YouTube. He gives you the contacts on YouTube. Whoever you got to use to know what you need to do to move to the next level. But some people don't choose it, and for whatever reason. And then when stuff don't go right, the first thing they want to do is try to play the victim card. Oh, why did God? I don't know why God. I don't know. Hey, you didn't listen to him. That's why. So it is money in your 8th house, but it's based on bondage with the number 15s, and it's a return to something. Like I said, sometimes some of that stuff is past life, because sometimes that's what 24 means. Return is a past life. You're going back to stuff you did in a previous life, and the 8th house is about that. Or it could just be somebody or something connected to it in this life, but it's some type of return. But it looks like at some point you're going to start to question, why are you doing it? Because that's why Jupiter is there, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Now, when you follow Sagittarius, again, Neptune is right there. And Neptune could be the fantasy world, could be the deceiver, but it could also be the 12th house of spirituality. And then when you jump to your 12th house real quick, yeah, I want to look at that one real good. And only because of your 10th house, that Saturn retrograde in Gemini, and your 12th house. Your 10th house, that March retrograde in Gemini, and your 12th house, that Saturn retrograde in Leo. And Leo rules your 5th house with Capricorn. You have to be careful because that can sometimes be an abusive person. A person with anger management issues, and also an abusive person, especially towards children. Whenever you're dealing with Leo or the 5th house, that's children. And Gemini is children. So you have to be very careful any form of abuse whatsoever. Whether it's a Gemini communication or a Leo actions, you just got to be real careful. Because that's also karmic. And that could be far reaching. Just to let y'all know, that could be a little child who's not being treated the way a child should be treated. But that could also, like this particular place, this particular chart could also be like abortions, because it seems to be highly connected to the sexuality. So like one chart I did, you could definitely see it was disease, like sexually transmitted diseases was on the chart, and that's public too. So that's why I keep all my stuff public, so you can see it for yourself. See, you can't go by your feelings, because the first thing people want to go by their feelings. Oh, don't tell me, and they want to get upset or mad. They want to attack you. They don't want to look at the facts. But what y'all gotta understand, on this planet, you can do whatever you want, but at the end is judgment. So instead of getting mad at the person, whatever, just understand it so that you can repent, so that you don't got to worry about the judgment. And it was astrology king that said the part about murder, abuse, and murder. So that was at astrology. That was Pluto in Libra. And a lot of times, if it's international law, that means God's law. Like if it's ninth house, that could be God's law, or if it's Sagittarius, it's God's law. Which means that you don't have to worry. Like the government might tell you, oh, it's okay to take a life, and it's okay, but God ain't gonna say that. God gonna say a life for a life. And you can, like, that's why I tell you, that's why I just wish more people really did fear God, because you're listening to, it's called the democracy. It's a demon. And that's why I said, if you go to my channel, the spiritual channel, you hear the 13th Sun back in the day, one of the best videos ever made. If you ask me, a lot of knowledge. You can go to listen to that video, because he says the same shit. That's a democracy. So they're telling you it's okay to take life and all that, but God said if you take a life, your life gotta be taken. So that means that, like, if I forced a female into an abortion, look, I ain't ready. Don't call no more. Get rid of it. I'm over with you. Don't call me if you wanna. And I force her. Now what's gonna happen is, when it comes time for judgment, I'm gonna be burning in hell. I took a life, and you can't get in. You took a life, so now your life gotta be taken. And then she can get in because she was forced. There's a difference. She ain't want it. She ain't want to do it. I forced her. And I was supposed to be more of a man about it. So you got to really know how God views things. And you can think it's an opinion, but like, I don't play no jokes. Like I don't play jokes. I know what life is. I know what death is. I come from the hood. I've had guns pulled out on me. I've had bullets shot over my head and shit. So I know the difference between life and death. Some things you don't play with. A lot of people are letting the powers that be right now, they think that's God. That's not God. That's a human just like you. And that person is not going to help you when it comes time for judgment. So I'm just showing you what's on the chart so far. All right, I'm going to put this on pause. Then I'll be back and we'll be getting ready to get finished out of here. So like I said, your chart is very karmic. So you have to be aware of that. And again, the reason why these things are brought out now, because you can still have time to repent. That's just a fact. Doesn't mean everybody got to repent. Like we just live in a world, but the devil, that's what he's supposed to do. He's a liar. But unfortunately, more people are attuned to listening to him and his bullshit than listening to God. So God will try to connect people with people that'll show them what this is all about and how to do it. And then that person has to make their decision on what they want to do. And like I said, you got to really get to know Matthew chapter 13, because some people start off really good. And that's why I would strongly advise you to listen to this is like part 3. I would strongly advise you to listen to part 1 and 2 at some point. But you have to understand, when I first started this, I was going by what you said. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do a just an update. An update on the moon, the September 2019 moon, and her chart. So my first 2, but I was just going by where the spirit was leading me. So I was just going to do the first thing, get it all out as far as verbally, and then third, just stick with the chart. But once I started looking at your chart, I was like, wow, there's way more here than just what you were basically saying. Like your chart is extremely karmic, and it's a lot of law. And like, I don't know what your background was, but it definitely was some type of spiritual belief in the family, because you got Sagittarius there. But see, Sagittarius can also be in-laws, or foreigners, or traveling, or like for further long distance or whatever. So just be aware that it's karmic. That's all I can tell you. So this time it's only an hour, because I would like to look at them 29s a little bit. So when you have Gemini in the 10th house, that could be some type of communication or publishing job. It could be a teacher. Gemini does deal usually with young children, but sometimes it can deal with people that are maybe a little immature or not highly knowing in certain things. But it can deal with children as well. And your Virgo is there again. Well, your Virgo is there. Curious is retrograde, so that means there's a problem with being nurturing here. So that's why it's another implication as to like children. And then again, you got the 21 right there, so karma. That's the world card, that's Saturn energy. And this is the 10th house with Saturn. So more, like I said, more and more it's just telling you something there with children. Children or whatever. And anything I said. And then you got 20 degrees, which is that Pluto energy again. And then you got 17, which again is that Aquarius. So it goes back to your 6th house. And even your 6th house, Virgo, and the 6th house is small children. And medium quality is also part of your true north node. So your 10th house is part of your 3rd house, which again is children. So it's definitely something karmic there with children or a child. And it's either in this life or in the past life you did something. But it's kind of like karmic. And some people say, how do I find out? Like I said, a lot of times you could pray. You could all get readings. There are people that do like past life readings. You could get readings if you want. But a lot of times you just need to take all that to God. That's why we trying to tell people you're better off. All I can tell you all, like me and that female had a conversation with just a couple of matter of minutes, and it was different. And I felt even changed after talking to her, because it wasn't a whole lot of bullshit, you know. And it was just general shit. Just like who would her, like, well, whatever. Like, I asked her question, like her background, because I was interested in that, because I knew she had some connections. But she asked me stuff about me, and some, like I said, I wasn't really in a good mood yesterday, even health wise. So some of the stuff I couldn't even really answer her question. She like, where did I work? I said, well, a long time ago I worked across the street at that restaurant. That's all I could tell her. That's a long ass time ago. I couldn't even really tell. And I remember I told her I was a volunteer worker at the food bank. And I couldn't even remember. And I said I used to work for an employment agency, but she never heard of that. They're still in business though, but she never heard of it. And that was it. But I couldn't really remember too much specific and shit. Not at that time. So again, your Mars retrograde in the 10th house, getting ready to go into the house of family. But Mars retrograde is somebody that kind of can fly off the handle, but they try to hold it in. A lot like Lilith retrograde is kind of like that. They kind of hold it in, but they kind of go off the just fly off. Like, y'all remember Good Times when she beat Janet Jackson's character and burnt her with that iron and shit? Like that type of person. That's how my father was a crazy ass, like a nut job. It wasn't fully his fault though. Like it's like I said, that's why y'all need to listen to that video with 13th Son on my other channel, the spiritual channel. You gotta go to his channel and listen to the whole video. Cause it's just a lot of energy. Like y'all are more than just humans. Y'all got a lot of energy, and you're supposed to be learning how to deal with it. But most people don't. And the people that rule over you are not going to tell you the truth. They're going to put you in the matrix because they want you to die. They want you to burn in hell. That's why they basically tell you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You don't have to believe that. You could do it. Because once you believe that, you're cut off from source, really. And you may still think God's with you, but he already told you in Matthew 7. On that day, the final day, that he's gonna say, "Get away from me! I never knew you," and you're gonna say, "Hey, then wait a minute, what are you saying? Didn't we do this? Didn't you do that?" So it's up to you to stay in scripture. It's up to you to find out what's really going on. And even guys like me can tell you, but as you can see, a lot of people are not always listening. I find some that do, but a lot of people not listening. And then I find out that even if they start off, Matthew chapter 13 takes over because, you know, they go back to whatever. Like, this is something you have to really be on. It's got to be anything else you do, because anything else you do in life that you like, you do it. But when it comes to something spiritual, it's just easy to get distracted. So let's look at the anaretic degree on your chart, the 29 degrees in your 10th house. And remember, your 10th house with medium quality is directly connected to your life purpose while you're here. And like another thing that happens sometimes, because somebody will say somebody gets offended or whatever, but again, your natal chart is a arm ARM of the body of God. You got to remember that. So what we may think is not that bad, he may call it something else. And like I like if I was a player, I could say, oh, you know, I might have slept with a couple of females last year, but what's the big deal? But to God, it's like fornication. Might say prostitute. Might say a whole lot of shit. You may say, oh, look, old lady, I took her out, you know, whatever. You know, she hit me off when I got done, you know. I made some fast money. I don't see the big deal. But to God, it's totally different. So, and the reason why, again, we're in the state that we're in, spiritually speaking, is because the people that should be telling you the truth are a bunch of cowards, and they water it down. So now when you hear the word, you be like, oh, what the fuck? You know, you're mad and whatever. What the fuck? What did he just say? But that's what it should have always been said. The way that God said it with his God, you should have called it what God would have called it. Especially since God's the one that's going to judge you. Because these lame ass preachers, they're going to be burning it anyway. Because they're cowards. And they just like the people out here on YouTube, they just want the money. They could care less. They're not going to tell you the truth. Because if they tell you the truth, you ain't going to do nothing. You're going to run to somebody else. Alright, so now we're at the anaretic degree. This is the karmic degree, and this is telling you something important on the chart. And you have to, I mean, way more important than the other stuff. And some people will tell you that's not true, but it is. That 29 degrees is something significant, important on that chart. And it doesn't have to necessarily be in an ending or a beginning. But it'll tell you when you get there and look at it, even when you talk to the person and start questioning them. But it's something significant and important on the chart. So since it's in the 10th house, you could say 29 degrees Capricorn. And also because it's Gemini, it could be 29 degrees Gemini. And as time goes by, you'll see more websites give you more. They'll say like 29 degree 10th house, 29 degree conjunct medium quality. But that's going to take a minute because those type of explanations are not out here yet. It was the same way with love. When I first started doing it, you could almost find nothing on love, nothing significant. Now you can find a lot of stuff on love. So 29 of these Gemini, and they said this has something to do with a person's mental cycle, but it could also be the end of a relationship or a relationship with siblings, which there could be brothers or sisters. He said cousins or neighbors, but he can also say young ones because it's the third house. It has something significant with young ones. And young ones mean any life form. That's what you don't get, like any life form. Because I know they tell you certain thing is not a life, but God says it is a life. All right. Now 29 degrees in the 10th house because it represents your Capricorn and career, so all this will be affected. So something major will be going on regarding career, reputation, and also whatever Gemini stands for, the third house, children, small children, publishing, your ability to publish or communicate, any creativity in the third house, your brothers and sisters, like he says, siblings, the environment around you. Short distance travel. Now, your Leo is in the 12th, so yeah, because Leo's been going through a lot for a while in astrology. So that's how she was when they put her in a crazy house. She finally rebelled, and they, like I said, that's when they finally grabbed her and put her in a room and took her clothes off. So that's Leo. That's Leo in the 12th, because Leo, the 12th can be about confinement. It could be about service. It's about buildings, which is also the mental ward, hospitals, any church, any type of building. But it's also, secrets. You're supposed to really, in the 12th house, you're supposed to be pulling your secrets out of the closets, from under the rug, and dealing with them. The 12th house is really supposed to be about healing and reckoning, but for most people it's not, because most people they come in the 12th house with the same mentality they have in the 8th house, which is secrets and covering up and all that. But on yours, you're going to be fighting authority, which ain't good. But remember, it's karmic. You see my point? And it is jail. I don't know you personally. I don't know if you've ever been in this life. I don't know if you've ever been, but that's what that is. But you gotta remember, this is your. See, that's why we trying to tell people. We all have to be careful, because we can do something and we think one thing doesn't relate to the other. But you keep hearing me tell you it's all one. It's all one. It's all like when somebody just keeps fucking with you and you're wondering why. Why won't this person just leave me alone? A lot of time that's like a karmic reason why that's happening. It could be a universal wake up call, but it could also be a karmic reason. And that's why when you talk, don't nobody believe you. But then when your enemies talk, they believe everything they say. A lot of that shit is karmic. That's why I'm real careful what I do now. And as far as my past life, like I that stuff I pray to God about, because I'm like, why would anybody have to carry over their past life in this life if it's a new life? But just because I say that doesn't mean it ain't true. So I pray, I stay covered up on everything. And that's why I say when you really understand, like I said, when you really understand Christianity in the way it was written and not the way that they're giving it to you, it's nothing but power. It's universal power. Paul Bagley said that one time a black Christian woman was on a bus with this white woman. They weren't sitting together, but they was on a bus, and it was like earlier in the morning, so it wasn't a lot of people on a bus. But that man was demonized, and he was threatening that woman and telling her he was gonna do all this stuff to her and stuff. And so that woman was terrified. And like once a coward knows you're afraid, even if you're fighting something supernatural, once it knows you're afraid, you best believe it's getting ready to possess you or take you over. That's why it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. That's why I say you gotta learn how to stand on a rock and stop all the BS. Because until you learn how to stand on a rock, these demons gonna keep on taking you over. And you're gonna try, and the only way you're gonna do is try to play the victim card. And unfortunately, if you are vain, as long as people are going, oh man, that's fucked up. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, what can I do to help you? Then that's what you're vain. That's all you want is attention. You don't really want to change. You don't want nothing to get better. And that's the worst mistake you can make, because all that stuff is happening to you for a reason, so that you can wake up and change and repent and get better. And we all go through it. That's why I said over here it ain't no pity party. It's not a pity party. You're not gonna be crying. We're not gonna be grabbing no tissues and all that boohoo shit. Like, we're gonna tell you this is what it is. Because from experience, most people that go through that process, they don't get back up. They just want to sit there. They want to blame it on somebody else. They don't want, oh, I don't have to. Life is so hard. I'm just going to give up. Oh, let somebody else get it. Let somebody else get it. And then they don't ever change. And then when it comes time for judgment, those are the type of people going to be burning in hell. Why? Because they ain't do nothing about it. Like, if they had did anything about it, God will help them. But once you make up your mind, I ain't going to do nothing about it. This life is too hard. I give up. I'll just stay with my mama's house for the rest of my life. I'm not going to do nothing. You ain't going to do that. Because at some point, your mama going to have to move one day. You still going to find yourself out somewhere, looking somewhere. And you could have been using that time to build up some type of finance or some type of plan B. But you ain't want to do shit because you just got, oh, the world is too hard. And like I said, even though that female put her video on private, we don't know what she's doing. Hopefully she is getting help. Hopefully somebody is directing her to people that can really help her and not what she was going through. But just never give up. Never just tap out. So again, Leo in the 12th would be a leader, and this person may lead in helping people. And that's what she did when they put her in a crazy house. She was actually going around and helping the other crazy people and stuff. I'm just looking at why your Saturn retrograde is 2, because remember 2 is the high priestess number, but it's also the couple number. But then it's 50 degrees, but 50 degrees is 5 plus 0, which is still 5. So that's interesting too. So your 12th house would have been karmic even if Saturn wasn't there, but with Saturn there, it makes it very karmic. So that's what I would try to do without any worrying, because worrying isn't going to solve anything. But I would try to make sure, I'm obeying what God says and make sure I'm taking anything to God that I need to give repentance or forgiveness for or help with. Because you want to be confident that you've addressed these things. Because otherwise they're very karmic. And like I said, the human nature is to try to run away or try to, make up a different whatever. But you just need to be courageous and move forward. And I don't know what else. Well, I did want to look at the 29 degrees on the chart to the because remember that chart to the left is very karmic as well, and that's what's going on right now. So whatever's going on above us is going to affect us as well. So let's look at the number 2002, which is in your 7th house with Vesta. I gotta answer a question. I'll be right back. All right. Let me see. Let me see. All right. So we're just about out of here, I think. So, like I said, with Virgo, Virgo is about the home and small children. So it seems like your present, like this present life, is playing a lot on that, a lot on that as well. And that's why people have to really understand your true north node, because people tend to say, "Well, it's my true north node, it's my life purpose, is why I'm here," but it doesn't always mean that. It means what you got to deal with while you're here. So in other words, the universe will put you in the same area, same whatever, but that's not why. Like I said, you might have like I might have some karma with a person that I have to address in this life. So we did something, we got something attached to us, whatever. So on my true north node, it may look like it's saying, "Oh, you two's gonna be together" and all that, but that's not what it's saying. It's saying I got karma. It's a situation with that. Because see, when your true north node is a Scorpio, we already told you what that means. You got, it's in the third house, which is Gemini. And then you got Uranus. So you got to look where Aquarius is. And Aquarius is in your sixth house, ruled by Virgo. That's about the home and small children. And then your Aries is in the eighth house, ruled by Scorpio again. And then Pluto's in your relationship sector. So it's like binding them together, but ultimately that whole small children theme just keeps popping up and popping up and popping up. And it's a female that she's been around almost as long as been doing this. But I think I'm longer, but she's been around almost as long. And when I first did her chart, her and her boyfriend, a twin flame, and what came up with that was that in the previous life they had been using like science, but wrong, perverted forms of alchemy, poop, messing around with science and doing all kind of crazy shit. And now in this life, she's a little really out there. She tries, but she's a little out there. And then he was like a nut job. So it takes a lot for people to really realize they need help. But at the same time, you do see people doing it. And like even when you look at something like Christianity, that has a whole lot of things going on. And that's why Christianity is kind of hard to contain, because there's so many people there with so many different backgrounds, so many stuff. It's just so hard to contain it. But at the end of the day, it just depends on how humble a person can be. But they're afraid they're gonna lose something. That's the real reason why people are afraid to become humble, because they're afraid they're gonna lose something. And that's why God goes out of the way to break people down. You see it all the time. He'll go out of his way to break people down. And like with me, I just learned. But like I said, that's one of the reasons why I'm sick. Like with Apostle Paul was the same way. Apostle Paul was like the ever ready bunny. So he had to get broken down. And he tells you that in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. If it wasn't for God breaking him down, he would keep on trying to do it in his own strength, his own power, and keep on trying to go. So that's why I said, if you're really here, if you're really a so-called spiritual person or really a Christian, you got to humble yourself and do it God's way. Most people here talking crazy and they're acting like that, but they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn about that what that book really say. They're not gonna follow it, and they just want to act like it. And they think they fooling God because they fooling humans, so they think they fooling God. But all you fooling is yourself and those people that believe that crap. But at the end of all of this, God is gonna say, "Did you really obey me? Or did you not?" It's not. It's none of this stuff is a joke. So before we get out of here, we're gonna look at now when you look at the chart to the left, the full moon chart, the third house has, and again it's Gemini, which is small children, and then it's got Virgo, which is the sixth house and has small children, and then they got Juno at 9 degrees, but again that's Virgo energy, and he's got the Sun. Well, he's got Mars, but again Mars in the third house could be anger towards children, or in this case Virgo, anger towards children in the home or in the home. And then 17, which we found out is Aquarius energy, and your Aquarius is in your sixth house. And then the Sun is 21 degrees, which is Saturn energy, which again is very karmic. And your Saturn is right with Cancer, which is the family, but it could also be the home, but it's really the family. And then when you got Venus conjunct Mercury, that's a person thinking about love, talking about love. But remember, it's still based on the children because of everything else we see. And also, you got Juno right there, so it's going to be a serious relationship. But it's at 29 anaretic degrees. So if you want 29 degrees Virgo, or 29 degrees, yeah, you could do that. You could do Virgo, Venus, and Mercury. Virgo is the end of some type of health cycle. Well, it doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have to be the end, but something significantly going on in the health cycle, employment cycle. So that was Virgo, then Mercury. And remember, planet Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini, and all that's in the third house right now because Gemini rules the third house. And I'm looking at the chart to the left, which is the full moon chart. Again, mental cycle, health cycle, could be some type of event or significant with small children or even somebody you're in a relationship with. And then planet Venus, 29 degrees, or the anaretic degree, which is the karmic degree at Venus. So there's going to be a significant event in a relationship cycle. So that's what the world on this chart is looking at. And again, because it's in the third house, it's definitely looking at just like what you see on your chart. That's why I said inside of you, probably your higher self or whatever, your guardian angel kind of moves you to get this reading, because it's almost like your chart. But the world and the sun always means like some form of revelation, because the sun is shining light on things that maybe wouldn't have been known, and the moon is like internal emotionally. But it's basically in the third house of young ones, short distance, creativity, publishing. It's karmic because the sun is at 21 degrees, and even 17 degrees is still karmic. but that would be your temperance card. And it's looking at whatever's going on in the house. Money, whatever's going on in the house, in the home, concerning connected to love or finances or beauty or fun, communication with Mercury. So, what's the good news? Well, if you're a spiritual person, the good news is now you have clarity and you can say, take it to God, repent, work on it. And then when you do work on it, it'll be a lot better. Because like I said, I honestly don't have time for that foolishness. I'm not no young dude. I don't want to be in no car. I don't want to be no silly shit. I don't care. I don't want to be trying to impress somebody that probably ain't gonna appreciate it anyway, and all that bullshit. And I don't want to be with somebody that's gonna take me through all this fucking drama, and ain't nothing's gonna come, and that person ain't staying with you anyway. You know, this is crazy. This planet is like a joke. Like I sit here and be like, yo, like I really just be analyzing this shit. Like, well, who the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But people will die for this planet, and it makes me laugh. I ain't talking about no eco stuff or whatever. I'm talking about just the behavior and everything. People are ready to just give it up all, and you're so much more than this little piece of this pitiful. It's pitiful, bro. And people are mad at why mad at me? I mean, if you studied your scriptures, Messiah said the same thing. And most of these people say they love the Messiah, but they're not following that Messiah. They made up a new Messiah, and the Messiah that they do serve, tell them they can do whatever they want. Don't worry, I did it for you. I paid the price for you. Go ahead and keep on sinning. Do whatever you want. I paid the price. And they really believe that. And that's the same Messiah in Matthew chapter 7 going to say, get away from me. I don't know you. So the devil has done a great job. Right? That's one thing I'll agree with that 100%. He's done a great job of deceiving the people and taking the people down to this low, debased energy level. But God's not joking. God's got other plans. So the good news is you just found out, and now you can do something about it to get on track to where we all need to be, standing on the rock and moving forward. Or people can continue to do whatever they want to do and just keep on, but just know that he's not joking. And humans and the devil may have changed the word and changed how they obey God, but he's not joking. When he comes, whatever moves he make is going to be based on that scripture, the scriptures that he said. And the only really so-called mercy that he's going to show is by people who have, tried to obey. Because nobody's going to be perfect. But at least they tried to obey Messiah. They didn't just keep changing the word and making stuff up and all kind of the stuff they're doing now. So it is time to repent, and only we know. Because like I said, one lady, she had forgot a lot of stuff that she had been through. And then it recently came back to her because of my ministry. But you got to really know what's going on. Try to make sure you get clarity and make sure you know how to do real repentance and how to really seek God for repentance. Because a lot of people, even that's a lie. And then hopefully we can get past this. Because ideally, what I'm seeing on your chart, the more you stand on the rock, the more that your other half will show up. And he'll help you. He'll help you through the trials. Or you'll stand on the rock with him. But we have to get through that first level of the deceit. Because everybody thinks it's bubblegum and straw. Everybody thinks it's okay. Everybody thinks we're all going to heaven. Everybody thinks it's all lovely. And that's not really what is going on here. Or it's like on this chart, it's definitely karmic. And the karmic has to be addressed. And like I said what it was. And this particular video was much shorter in time. It's only like an hour and almost 40 minutes. The other ones was over 2 hours. So, and this was the one where I try to stay old school and old fashioned and go right in. And I gave you whatever references I turned to as well. So that will wrap it up. So again, this one is definitely saying a lot of soul searching, being honest with yourself, repenting, and trusting in God to start to open up doors. Because you mentioned employment, open up doors of employment, and far as a relationship. And always remember, because this is what I always remember: you're not here you think you're here for other humans, but you're not. You're here to see how you go through this life the way God will want you to. So stop using other humans as your source of reference. Use God as your source of reference. Stand on that rock, put faith in him, and then watch how he moves through you. And it'll always be done with his, he does miracles too, but it'll always be a spirit of reality. Because a lot of us, you have to be grounded. Because what good is it if he does a miracle one moment? Because then you're going to be waiting on a miracle the next moment, and he's not going to do it. So you got to learn how to move through this world in a godly way, but you have to do it in the spirit of reality, and realize everything's not going to be easy, but it'll be easier if you're not afraid or falling back, or doing a Matthew chapter 13, saying, yeah, I want this, I want to do it, and then changing your mind. Don't do that, because nobody likes that type of person. So that's it. Once again, this weekend, a lot of offers for just $25. That's big savings. That information is on this channel. You can look at the most recent video on it, or you can just request the most recent services offered and price list. This is Gat. God bless.